like grilled chicken with on pasta. It was pretty good.
The best I've had.
All right, everybody, before they crank up again, just very quickly, y'all all know they are, but it has been recognized by the state of Texas that this is the #1 school board in the state of Texas. So let's give. And trustees, to let y'all know the kind of unity that you've brought to this community, Cy Falls plays Cy Fair this Friday night, and they're performing together. So that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Also, we've got a lot of principals and district leaders out here that wanted to come and thank you for all of the work you do on a volunteer basis. So let's hear it one last time for the Cy Fair ISD #1 Board of Trustees. One other thing I want to brag on the students here. They were out of school today, but they thought it was important enough today to show up to celebrate you. And they got free pizza. But other than that, they came to celebrate you. So let's hear another number to celebrate, and then we'll get started with the meeting. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Good evening. The Board of Trustees of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District is now convened in a regular meeting on Monday, October 12, 2015, in the boardroom of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Instructional Support Center, 10,300 Jones Road, at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we're here to set goals, listen to reports, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on CFTV Channel 16 and CFTV Online on the district website. They will also be rebroadcast throughout the month on Channel 16 and available as video on demand on the website. For the tape to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. Do we have any community members from the Community Leadership Committee here tonight? Because I wasn't given any names. Okay. They're probably at home crying about the Astros, which is where I should be. And then I also want to recognize our AVP students tonight. They're from Langham Creek High School, Alec Martinez, Damon Edwards, Steele LeBlanc, Lydia Oviedo, Victory Castilla, Kyle Holova, Shane Holova, Taylor Carlstrand, and Ronald Ruiz. And their AVP advisor at Langham is Brandy Milson. So we appreciate their help tonight on the broadcast. Let's see, and then tonight's invocation will be presented by Teresa Hull, Associate Superintendent for Governmental Relations, Communications, and Chief of Staff. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Let us pray. Dear God, we ask that you be present among us in this room tonight. As educators and board members, parents, and community supporters, we give thanks for the opportunity to be doing what is the most important work in our nation, providing for the education of the young people in our community. As we come together, we thank you for our board members who generously donate their service. We are so blessed that you have called these outstanding individuals to serve in our community, and we ask that you grant them wisdom as they work together with the superintendent and staff to provide a quality education for all students. Thank you for the democracy we live in, and bless our men and women who have fought and continue to fight for our freedom. In the next few weeks, we have the opportunity to celebrate our right to vote. We ask that you provide each of us with the wisdom we need to select our leaders. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you, Teresa. Board Member Christine Hartley will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience. It's
Jackson.
Well, actually, her running mate will do that on her behalf.
Yeah, Donna said sorry.
Huh?
Donna said sorry.
You don't have to apologize. I'm the one that screwed up. Actually, we're going to let Tom do it. He doesn't get to talk very much during the meeting, so I wanted to say something. Tom, go ahead, bud.
Well, thanks, and I appreciate the opportunity to say these few words. Our vision statement: learn, empower, achieve, and dream. Lead. Our mission statement: maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be the 21st century global leaders.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for picking up, because Christine apparently quit. Before we begin, we do have a group I want to have recognized tonight. If they could stand up. Troop 1944. Go ahead, guys. Stand up. It's your big chance to be on TV without being in handcuffs. They are led by Scoutmaster Todd Running. We have Giovanni Rivero. Raise your hand. There you go. Gabriel Rivero. There you go. Clayton Running. And Luke Anderson. Thank you guys for being here. Wait, hey. Okay, well, I'm guessing that you're not Christine Hartley either, so what's your name? Reese. Wow, you like Madonna? You just got one name? Reese what? Okay, thank you, Reese. Sorry they didn't jot you down. That's a pity. I think the amazing thing I'd like to point out, you guys, your Troop 1944, same year Dr. Henry was born. I think that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. We will now move on to this evening's special recognitions portion of the agenda. Agenda item 1A. The superintendent will make remarks and announcements, including the honors and achievements earned by staff and students in recent weeks.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I congratulate 6 out of 7 of you for being Board of the Year. The CFISD Transportation Department retained its award for efforts to mitigate air pollution at the Houston-Galveston Area Council 2015 Clean Air Leadership Awards. CFISD received the Clean Air Champion Award, so congratulations to our Transportation Department. CFISD recently supported the American Association Northwest Harris County Heart Walk, and in our district, over $12,000 was raised. And I do have to say this, I don't think Sarah is here, but I think Cy Lakes High School raised over $6,000 just for that event, so certainly they are to be commended. The CFISD Health Expo benefiting the Health Organization of Physical Educators was held this past Saturday, October 10th. Cy-Fair Houston Chamber of Commerce partnered with the district on the event. Numerous health and wellness opportunities were offered to parents, employees, and the community. The event benefits the Hope Scholarship Fund. On September 28th, 6 honorees of distinction were inducted into the 2015 Wall of Fame for their commitment and contributions to the educational experience of CFISD. The Friend of Education Award was given to Dr. David Anthony, Chief Executive Officer of Raise Your Hand, Texas. Congratulations to all of our talented students and staff. Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. Agenda item 2A. Any board member may make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any student, staff, or board member and may not be discussed or deliberated upon at this time. Comments from board members? Christine?
Well, first of all, thank you. We should start every meeting that way. Okay, I'm just going to say, throw that out there. I learned about a program recently that I was really impressed with, and I wanted to give a shout out to Cypress Ridge and their Regal Rams. It's for all, I just learned it's rather new, and it's where they take all of their freshman girls and they spend a day with motivational speakers and, of course, with a lunch. And but they really they really just start planting that seed in these freshman girls of how much they can achieve and how far they can go and how worthy they are. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the staff at Cypress Ridge because I think that's a wonderful thing. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing. Tom?
I have said this to many of the principals here, and I've said it to the public, but I think it bears repeating. Yes, we were recognized as the outstanding school board in the state of Texas. This was not possible were it not for the leadership and the teachers at each and every campus doing everything they could for every child every day. It also would not have been possible if we did not have a unified community that supported the concept of public education, as well as the concept of relatively equal access for facilities and programs for every child, and to borrow a word from the superintendent, irrespective of your zip code. So please understand, this recognition really goes to all of you. So thank you.
Darcy?
I just wanted to mention that we have begun our board visits to the various schools, and once again, that is such an enlightening and wonderful experience to get a chance for the principals to take us through their schools and show us everything they're so proud of, and to see the students engaged. And that is one of my most favorite activities that we do as board members. So I think it started under your reign, Bob, and we've continued it, and I really enjoy it, and thank you very much for making us so welcome when we come to visit your schools.
Thank you, Darcy. Anyone else? I would like to point out to the community that we do have a school board trustee election coming up, and we have 3 of our members that will be seeking re-election. Ms. Mongoya, Mr. Jackson, and Ms. Hartley will be seeking re-election, and my mic not on? Gee. Now it's on. It's the first time I've ever messed up anything. Not really. Anyway, I was talking about the trustee election. And Ms. Mongoya, Mr. Jackson, and Ms. Hartley are all seeking re-election. I'm not up here campaigning for them. I'm up here encouraging you to vote. Your vote matters. We usually have very low turnout for these elections. And sadly, we usually have very low turnout by the employees. And this is a little friendly reminder that we are the ones that vote on your pay raise. Seriously, if someone's voting on my pay raise, I want to know how they're going to vote or how they voted in the past. So early voting starts October 19th, if you so desire. Election day is November 3rd. So if you want to make your voice heard, the ballot box is the place to do so. Okay, anybody else want to add to that, or I pretty much buried? Yeah, I thought so. Thought I covered that one. Agenda item 3A. Patrons who have duly registered per policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern or interest to the district, other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. I would like to remind the audience and the viewers that the comments of the speakers reflect their own positions or opinions. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments of the speakers. Please understand that a lack of a response from board members does not indicate agreement or approval of the comments. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Ms. Christine Hartley, Secretary of the Board, will be the designated timekeeper. Before we begin, in case you didn't hear that, the board will not comment when you speak. We will listen to what you say, but we won't have a discussion amongst us. Sometimes people expect that. That doesn't happen in this format tonight. For those of you that are new to speaking at the board meetings, you'll go to the podium on my right, your left, and there is a little light signal there that has the stoplight on there. It's red, yellow, and green, just like a regular street signal. Green means go, yellow means speed up. You're almost out of time. And red means go ahead and stop. Yeah. So our first speaker tonight is it Sean Stringfellow? Sharon. Okay, Sharon, your R and your O ran together. I apologize.
How are y'all doing this evening?
Good.
Good. Hi, my name is Sharon Stringfellow, and my daughter Ryan is a sophomore who attends Cy Ranch High School. We are here to support her in spearheading a new parking solution. We performed a great deal of research on traffic patterns and flows several years ago when we asked the school board to reinstate our buses in our area. And Ryan realized at that time how much these schools are continuing to grow and therefore decided to find an alternate type of transportation. A small motor-driven cycle was her solution. After researching the policies and regulations that were available to use and finding that there was nothing that prohibited it, Ryan got her license in May of 2015 and began riding her scooter to school like this. She locked it to the bike rack last year without any issues. However, she did it again this year, and on the second day, we received a phone call from Mr. Peck asking that she not drive it back for no other reason other than being a sophomore. We are here to advocate that Cy Ranch and Cy-Fair ISD adopt a parking policy that includes multiple forms of transportation and encourages students and their parents, such as other families in our area, that are looking for alternate transportation and means to access all available resources for all students and not just a select group. First of all, let's state some clear facts that no one can deny. Cy-Fair is growing, in Dr. Henry's words, eye-opening growth. And Cy Ranch High School enrollment, it will not even be reduced with the high school number 12 open, since history shows for the first 2 years, the high schools only open with freshmen and sophomores. So therefore, we'll be dealing with at least parking concerns at least until 2019. And who knows how many additional homes we'll have in the area by then. Listed on page 12 in the Cy Ranch handbook, under parking, it clearly states, do you want to park your car, quote, car, on campus? All of us in this room and every taxpayer in the district would have a reasonable expectation that Cy Ranch administration and the Cy-Fair ISD administration staff, as well as the board, would use limited resources efficiently and be available to all students. Giving priority to upperclassmen is a common and agreeable method of allocation, but when resources are still left available, they should be offered to the underclassmen. That is what brings us here today. The bike ramps at Cy Ranch are underutilized. Another underutilized area is the parking lot that could be repurposed in the dead space areas, could be repurposed for full-size motorcycle parking by simply placing some parking numbers in the areas or striping it if desired. Mr. Holenbroek-Markle stated Ryan could park her scooter in a full-size spot when she's a junior. This is what they would intend, and we believe that this is a waste of space that could be utilized for another student who truly needs a spot for a car. We are frankly surprised by such a statement that the administration should be teaching our kids to lead and learn and empower, achieve, and dream. But yet we would think this is illogical to deny another student who needs parking spot in order to put a small scooter in that spot. So we're going to refer to the campus improvement published, and Cy Ranch says that they're willing.
Thank you, Ms. Stringfellow. Thank you. Your time's up. Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, I'm very proud of my daughter to come here today to support her method, as many women, such as Rosa Parks and Susan B. Anthony,
Okay.
that stood
Thank
on
you.
her
Your
thing.
time's up.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Ryan Stringfellow.
Hi, my name is Ryan Stringfellow, and I'm here to pioneer a new parking solution at Cy Ranch High School. I ride a Honda Ruckus, and I would really like to use the resources that we have on campus. The school has 2 bike racks that are severely underutilized, and I would like to secure my scooter to the available space on one of the racks. However, the administrators at Cy Ranch have denied me access to those bike racks based on my status as a sophomore. I suppose they feel my little scooter requires an entire parking space, and these spaces are reserved for upperclassmen. But I am not asking for a parking space. 1, it would be a waste of space, and 2, it is customary to use other resources that are for this purpose. The bike racks installed at the school are capable of securing up to 54 different bikes. However, on any given day, there will be no more than 6 to 8 bikes on this rack. So again, it is a completely underutilized asset. Let me describe my scooter to you. Again, it is a Honda Ruckus, cousin of an old Honda Mini Trail. It has a 50cc engine, which is quite literally the same size as many weed eaters. And my scooter is so small that it is smaller than most dimensions of a 10-speed bicycle. Some may say that my scooter is very different from a bicycle, but in the state of Texas, a bicycle is considered equivalent to a motor vehicle and is subject to the same laws that apply to motor vehicles. It is a very common practice for scooters and full-size motorcycles to park at a bike rack or beside the rack or even on sidewalks as long as they are not impeding with traffic flow. This is true in our community of Cypress and the city of Houston, as well as many other cities in the United States. In fact, precedent over motor vehicles on the sidewalks has already been set in Cy-Fair ISD with a motorcycle parking on the sidewalks at Cy-Fair High School. Cy Ranch also has precedent for even larger motor vehicles being driven and parked on sidewalks. Almost daily, there is an Easy-Go golf cart and a John Deere Gator driven and parked on the sidewalks, not to mention the Gator that is driven by grounds crew on the sidewalks regularly. Parking in my high school will only get worse, and my class is nearly 1,000 kids, and the trends show that each class is increasing. It's quite possible that incoming classes may even be more. More students means more staff, and more staff means fewer parking spaces for the students. Asking for a full parking spot for such a small scooter would be a waste of space, and again, an underutilization of school resources. I am here asking our school leaders to do just that, to lead, show us how to use the limited resources that we have in the most efficient manner. In summary, I am asking for the opportunity to utilize a great resource that the taxpayers of the district have already paid for and are currently underutilized. The bike rack is a perfect and, according to Cy-Fair Police Department, appropriate place to park my scooter. Please don't let this scooter use a space and let it go to waste. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Scott Stringfellow.
Good evening. You just heard from my daughter regarding scooters in the Cypress Ranch High School campus. We're proud that she's here to speak to you about an issue that she believes in and she's passionate about. We're not here today because a teenage girl created a solution where there was a problem, or because a young girl chose to take a situation from a different perspective and find an answer. We're here today because the school administrators have summarily dismissed her solution solely based on her age. Time and again, she's been rejected and told, no, you're a sophomore. My wife and I see this as an opportunity to teach our kids to be problem solvers and difference makers. It's also an opportunity to teach our children a healthy respect for authority, but it also teaches them that there's a proper way to question the rules set forth by the authority and to effect change where it makes sense. We're supporting her in her efforts and helping her arrange meetings with the school administrators and to reach out to community stakeholders. We also see this as an opportunity for the district to lead on an environmentally responsible, socially progressive, and economic solution to a problem that can exist for this school and other schools within the district as it continues to grow. It's an environmental solution because the fuel efficiency of these scooters is extremely high. The advertised fuel efficiency for her scooter is 114 miles to the gallon, roughly 4 times the efficiency of most cars on the road today. This alone constitutes a 75% reduction in greenhouse gas carbon emissions. It's a socially progressive solution. The space required to park or secure these scooters is dramatically less than any automobile, even less than many adult bicycles on the market today. These vehicles can even reduce the traffic on the streets around the schools, and many more units can be accommodated in less space. Fuel economy and the lack of available parking has driven students and parents to make new choices in transportation. Many students in colleges and universities and young professionals around the country have adopted the scooter as a primary mode of transportation. It's an economical solution for many reasons. By its characteristic efficiency, fuel costs can be reduced by more than 75%. Insurance savings is also reduced by up to 90%. Buying a used scooter and putting a little elbow grease into it may actually increase the resale value and even further reduce your total cost of transportation. We view this as an opportunity for Cy-Fair School District to lead other school districts and other community leaders by embracing a new solution and even leading to a socially progressive movement and encouraging environmentally responsible transportation alternative. Let's not be a school district that cowers to a challenge with fear and chooses to do it the same old way that it's always been done, because that will eventually leave us all in the past. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. On Thursday evening at the board workshop, the board reviewed and discussed the following action items. Agenda item 4A, the board will consider awarding bids and contracts and are authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item, cosmetology, equipment and supplies, departmental vehicles, grease trap and line cleaning, HVAC air filters, HVAC electric motors, print cartridges, OEM, remanufactured or compatible, and also 4B. The board will consider approving and submitting to the Commissioner of Education a request for maximum class size waiver. And then 4C, the board will consider approving construction proposals and contracts paid from bond funds to the recommended contractor and authorize the superintendent or designee to execute all necessary documents related to such contracts as follows: Pridgeon Stadium renovation and new natatorium. 4D, the board will consider approving and authorizing the superintendent or designee to enter into the miscellaneous professional services contracts related to the following projects: Pridgeon Stadium renovations and new natatorium, materials testing, HVAC testing and balancing services, roofing inspection services. 4E, the board will consider approving construction proposals and contracts to the recommended contractors and authorize the superintendent or designee to execute all necessary documents related to such proposals and contracts as follows: Horn Elementary masonry repairs, ISC professional library renovations. 4F, the board will consider approving the administration's recommendation to select architectural firms to provide architectural design services for bond program and other capital improvement projects and authorize the superintendent or designate to negotiate and execute all necessary documents and agreements with the selected firms. Hey, Donna, did we put that one on consent? That was already on consent. Hey, Roy, did you, are they here?
No, they're not. We'll bring them to a future board meeting.
Okay, fantastic. Just checking. They couldn't make it?
Yeah, we couldn't get
That's
them all
okay.
here tonight.
Yeah, we want to make sure all of them are here. 4G, the board will consider approving on second reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies, CDA local, other revenues, investments. 4H, the board will consider approving the tax refunds of $500 or greater for Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. 4I, the board will consider approving the minutes of the September 14th, 2015 regular meeting. 4J, the board will consider approving the minutes of the September 28th, 2015 special called meeting. May I have a motion, please, to approve these items as recommended or amended?
Mr. President, I move that all the items that you've read to be approved as recommended or amended.
I have a motion from Dr. O, second from Mr. Huffman. Any additional questions from board members? Yes, sir. Mr. Jackson, what specific item do you have a question on so we can make sure that person's prepared?
I would like to ask about the construction contract as it relates to the new school as well as the modifications, and then also I have a question regarding the selection of architectural firms.
Fantastic. Floor is yours.
Thank you. The first question, as it relates to architectural firms, I've already asked this privately, but I think it makes sense to go ahead and ask it publicly as well. Roy, if you would briefly explain the process by which new architectural firms are selected, and for this selection, does this cover the expenditures from this bond proposal?
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. What we did was we had numerous architectural firms that had contacted our district for consideration for future architectural services. We kept a list of those firms, and we actually issued an RFQ out for their services and their qualifications. We also posted this on our website to make it available to the public. I think we sent out approximately 27 to 30 invitations. We received 20 submissions back. We had an evaluation committee that consisted of 18 participants within the district, and it consisted of numerous departments from curriculum instruction, purchasing, facilities, maintenance operations, and school administration, to name a few. And that committee convened, and based on the initial review of the qualifications submitted, 10 firms were selected on the short list. And out of those 10 firms, they were all brought in to be interviewed by the committee. And as part of that interview process, the team also went to go look at their architectural firm offices and had a secondary interview with them. They all came back after the conduction of those interviews, and the committee reconvened, and they unanimously approved the 7 firms that are submitted before you tonight.
Thank you, sir. I want to repeat the question that I asked last week at the work session. There was an article on the front page of the Chronicle of today's paper that referenced inflation and hitting school construction. Prior to the board approving the bond proposal to go out to voters, we asked you regarding your key assumptions and for you to review your inflation assumptions with us. We found those to be reasonable and we approved the package. If you would, once again, review the inflation assumptions that you built into your calculations for new construction, but also for renovations. And do you still believe that that's reasonable? Did you go to outside experts to have their view?
Absolutely. Mr. Jackson, as part of the bond study process, we consulted with many firms. We also consulted with general contractors, and more importantly, we also consulted with the AGC of Houston, which is the Associated General Contractors. And we received information on what they estimated the inflation reports were going to be. And we used that information along with our historical data that we keep from all the bond projects we've done. And we had recommended to our bond committee as well as to the board to include a 7% inflation factor for our projects that were included in the bond program. So we do have 7% per year built in based on an estimated timeline of what those projects will start. To do that, not every project will have a full 5 years of 7% inflation, but we did factor inflation in there. Currently, we're seeing some increase in the market. We haven't bid that many projects recently to really determine are we seeing an upward trend over and above what we've seen before. We feel right now there is going to be some stabilization based on the experts we've talked to, and we feel right now at this point in time, unless something changes drastically in the market, we feel we're in good shape with the dollars that we have and based on the estimates and the cost figures that we included in the bond authorization.
Thank you, Roy. And just one follow-up question. Within the oil and gas industry, we are very familiar with spot inflation that is also regional based, and those numbers go up and then they subside. Unhappily, they've gone down now in terms of cost of services and items, for example, like steel. Does spot inflation also hit the construction industry, and do you see a similar type of pattern where it may spike and then fall back to a more reasonable level?
We do see that, especially on various types of materials. We'll see steel or concrete go up, and then sometimes we'll see that market go down. And overall, we're seeing hopefully a good stabilization as the oil and gas industry has slowed down. Some projects that are out there on the commercial side have been placed on hold, so that's providing additional resources back into the K through 12 construction market because we're all competing for the same resources out there. So if you've driven around Houston, Texas in the last 12 months, you've seen all the cranes all over the place, and we're competing with all those developers and other private companies for work. And then, as I mentioned before, I think over $8.1 billion of bond programs have been approved. So we're also competing with all the other school districts for getting the best contractors involved. So we do a lot of different things to stay ahead of the curve. We maintain good relationships with our general contractors. Mr. Brady and his team are always constantly talking with our GCs and encouraging them to come bid our projects. We also try to give them courtesy reviews of what our timeline is so they can plan their resources to be able to participate on any of the projects they would be interested in. And we feel those efforts have really helped us out tremendously, and we're starting to see an increase of numbers of bidders on our projects, which is giving us better competitive pricing.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Any additional questions from board members? I have a motion from Dr. Ogletree, a second from Mr. Hoffman. All those in favor, please signify. It's unanimous. Donna? Before we get to the superintendent's briefing portion of the agenda, which we're going to do next, I want to recognize we have a really good partner in the community and community impact. I know pretty much everybody gets it. It's actually something you get for free that's worth reading. You can't often say that. But we also have Kelly Ray is here. And then Marie Leonard, who was covering, stand up, Kelly. I mean,
You see her pretty
There you go.
picture in the...
Marie Leonard, who was really doing a lot covering the district, she's, well, she got promoted, let's tell the truth. And then, so now we have, and I wanted to introduce him to everybody, Sean, I'm going to, if I butcher your last name, let's get it out there. Sean Araj? Araj? Okay. There you go, Sean. Glad to have you, buddy. Smart sitting on the back row in case you need to have a quick evac. Agenda item 6A, the superintendent, his briefing portion of the agenda. Dr. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. President. CFISD hosted the first annual Battle at the Berry marching contest on Saturday, October 10th. Had several bands from Greater Houston participate, and according to Mary Running, it was a big success. And this Saturday we have our UIL competition, marching contest, and it will also be at the Berry Center, and that's always a lot of entertainment for a very small price, so come out and support our students. I would like to remind the board and community sponsors about our Salute to the Stars Gala on Thursday, October 15th at the Berry Center. The gala is sponsored by the Cy-Fair Educational Foundation, and funds raised from that event go to student scholarships. CFISD, I just told you, will host the UIL Region 27 marching contest this Saturday, the 17th. There'll be 12 6A schools from Cy-Fair and Spring Branch. The contest is actually hosted by Cypress Creek High School. The first band marches at 11 and the last band marches at 2. CFISD will celebrate Red Ribbon Week, October 26th through 30th. This national campaign is designed to encourage healthy, drug-free, and violence-free lifestyles among youth. And then, as Mr. Ryan had mentioned earlier, early voting starts October 19th and runs through the 30th. The actual election day is November 3rd, and that does include a school trustee election along with several amendments, state amendments. So I hope that you will, and a county bond election, that's right, forgot about that. So a lot of very important local issues and state issues this year on the ballot. So hopefully you'll take the time to express your opinion by voting. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mark. That will take us back to agenda item 5A. The board will receive legal advice from legal counsel regarding an Equal Employment Opportunity Commission complaint by Jay Kennedy. This item will be discussed in closed session pursuant to section 551.071. May I have a motion, please? Okay, motion by Kevin, second by Bob. All those in favor? Okay. The board will now adjourn to closed session under Texas Government Code Open Meetings Acts, section 551.071. Hang on, what was it? I'm not going to read all those. If the board determines that any final action, final vote, or decision on any matter considered in the closed session is required, such final vote, action, or decision shall be taken upon the reconvening of this meeting in open session or at a subsequent meeting of the board in open session after proper notice has been posted. We will come back to adjourn our meeting, but we will not have any additional actual school business that we'll be discussing. So I would encourage you to go home and not hang around here. Spend some time with your family. That will conclude our meeting. Thank you. Have a great evening. And thank you to the scouts for coming and also to the flash mob that we had prior to the meeting. That was awesome.